Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. It's another Raid Shadow Legends video. So we're going to do a Champions Guide today, and it's going to be on the one, the only SkullCrusher. I actually can't believe I've not already done a guide on this guy. One of the most sought after epics in the whole game. Why is that? It's because he's one of the very few counter-attack champions in the game. In fact, he's one of only 3 counter-attack champions in the game, and he's the only epic. That is what makes him so good. Basically makes him a clan boss king, makes him an arena god, makes him fantastic for getting through things like Fire Knights, Dragon, Spiders, just all round awesome champion. So let's have a quick look at his skills then. He's got a pretty basic A1. His A1 applies a heal reduction, but it's only the small version. Generally, you don't want him to use this, especially on clan boss, so you try and keep his accuracy really low. But if you're struggling to get through Fire Knights, actually him landing heal reduction on the Fire Knight is quite useful. So depends where you're using him, but for most people, heal reduction is something they actually don't want to land because mainly he's used in clan boss. You see here, all of his damage is based on defense. Tick, everyone wants defensive based champions. It means they take less damage and they still do a lot of damage. In terms of his A2, the other thing that's quite nice here, look at this. 1 book, 2, 3, 4. Maximum number of books you would ever use on this guy is 5. If you're super lucky, you can just land 1 book and that's all you need. So for epics, compared to most nowadays, he is really, really low cost for books, which is great. So what we've got here then, places an ally protection buff on all allies for 2 turns. At the same time, places a counter-attack buff on all allies except SkullCrusher for 2 turns. And then it also places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn. I mean, just breaking that down, all of those things are insanely good. Everything there that I've just said is insanely good. So ally protection, giving shared damage. Basically, you tank this guy up. It enables your attack dealers, your damage dealers to stay alive in fights for longer. Also allows them to counter-attack, which potentially if they're in lifesteal gear just heals them back up anyway and makes him unkillable. So when he's taking all of the allied protection damage, he is unkillable at that stage, so he actually can't die. The big watch out is actually the second turn when unkillable falls off, but counter-attack and allied protection are still on. That is his weak point, because actually if everyone takes a ton of damage then on that second turn, he will soak it up, but also he's killable. So potentially he can die. That's his only weakness. Otherwise, insane champion. So he's got this passive, which is actually really, really cool for the arena. Decreases the duration of all debuffs on this champion by 1 turn at the start of each turn. So if you get stunned in the arena, he gets stunned, it looks like he's out of the game. He gets straight back up and is going again on his first turn. He cannot be stunned and kept out of the game. He cannot be frozen and kept out of the game. You can't sleep him and keep him out of the game. He just starts to self-cleanse those debuffs. The only thing to watch out for here is if he's stunned, like say the clan boss stuns him, he can't shake the stun and then get all of his cooldowns back. Doesn't work that way. He still misses his cooldowns. So you don't want him to be taking the stun on clan boss, but anywhere else, if he takes poisons, if he takes stuns, he'll just shake them straight off on his first turn. So that's really cool. Also got an aura, which is a faction crypts aura. I mean, I would never use it to be honest, but he's got it. It's probably never used, I'd imagine. So in terms of masteries then, how do I build him? This is probably how 90% of people will build him. So I've built him for clan boss, which means we've gone down, diagonal, straight down to use a single target, single hit A1. So we come straight down here into War Master. That's where he gets his damage from. Now, because he doesn't have a support tree that you particularly want to land, so heal reduction we're not really fussed about unless you are building for Fire Knights, and his unkillable stuff won't ever proc for more than 1 turn. You could extend his counter-attack by taking lasting gifts. That would be literally the only reason to take the support tree, this move. So, and it doesn't extend unkillable, but it would extend potentially counterattack. You could also, I guess, if you're trying to get reduction on cooldown for that counterattack desperately, then maybe this move's better. But it's very, very rare that I'd see anyone go support tree. So you generally would want to go defense tree. You want to take the extra defense. You'd want to take the reduction of damage from AoEs. And you come down here, chance to remove a debuff when you lose more than 25% of your HP. And then you kind of come into reduce damage over time and counterattack. This move is really, really crucial for him. So if you can imagine, he gets slammed on the AoEs from Clan Boss. What you actually want is for him to have a chance to then go in, counterattack. He doesn't have counterattack on himself. You want him to have a chance to go and counterattack, especially if he's in lifesteal gear, because he can go in, counterattack, and top up his own health. Really important skill on him. Equally, this one does the same type of thing. So when one of your teammates gets a stun, he's got a 20% chance to go in and counterattack. It's extra hits, extra damage, and an extra chance to top up his health, which is really important. You need him to stay alive. If your Clan Boss run is centered around a SkullCrusher, as soon as he dies, your run dies and your damage drops off dramatically. So let's do a quick review. Actually, I'll show you his artifacts first. So I've built my SkullCrusher to be ready for Nightmare Clan Boss and Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. So the speed I've got him running is 171. I've got tons of defense, probably too much defense, if anything. Good HP. I wanted 100% crit, and I've got good crit damage. So my one's going to hit hard, yeah? My one is built to hit hard. I actually probably should swap this out for a crit damage amulet, which I will, because I've got more defense than I need. If we were in the artifact event already, I would swap it out for a 6-star one, but let's just put this on for now. So I get a bit more crit. I've still got plenty of defense, probably still more than I need. You'll see here, I've got him in crit rate gloves. How have I done that? I've managed to put defense boots on him, and then I've actually got good speed rolls running through my gear. That's how, well, not even that good really. I've only got to get to 171, which is not that high. So I've literally got one speed roll there, no speed rolls here, good speed here, good speed here, some speed here, nothing there, a little bit there. So, and then I've got a good speed roll here. So you can see, yeah, look, I'm endgame. This is an endgame build. I'm not like sitting there trying to get through, easy Clan Boss or something. So this is an endgame build, but without speed boots, I've got to 171 pretty easily. I could literally find there's another whole set of speed I could roll here. I've only got one roll here. I've got two there, one there, none here. So there's definite possibilities to get to that 171 speed without speed boots on, but it's more of an end game build. As soon as you get defense boots on, you've then got the opportunity to put crit rate gloves on, and therefore you start to push out more damage. But for anyone who's kind of mid to early game, I would suggest that you go for speed boots, defense gloves, defense chest, defense percentage that is. And I would suggest you go defense, defense, defense. One of the great things about SkullCrusher not needing accuracy is that you can put a defense banner on him, push his defense right up, which enables you to do better things with your build. So that's him. I could as well, because my defense is so high, I could push more HP into him. So there's definite opportunity that I could go HP rings and that type of stuff, but I do have good rolls here. But equally, I could go for something like this, push an extra couple of thousand HP onto my build and remove a couple of hundred defense, and I'd still be pretty fine. One of the other things that you could do, so if I was to switch this into an arena build, all I would do is I'd switch out these boots for a speed set of boots. I would probably actually run all speed gear if I was just putting them in the arena. So I'd throw in some speed boots like these, and then I would just push his speed up to more like 200. And at that point, he is then good to go for the arena as well. So we'll do that a bit later. I'll show you that build. Let's just rate him then. So Clan Boss, he's top notch. He's actually up there. In certain teams, he's better than a Martyr because of his ally protection. So shared damage is really valuable in this game. So let's go 5 out of 5 Clan Boss. Arena defense, he's very solid, can be a 5. Same for offense. Fire Knights, he's top notch as well. Ice Golems, he's risky. He's definitely not a 5. if you put him in Ice Golem team and everybody counterattacks and goes on the boss, potentially what you do is you force the boss to have another big hit before you've killed the ads. So for me, he's great up until about level 14, 15. After that, he becomes a risk. So bear that in mind. Minotaurs, great. Spiders, this rating's a bit unfair. So again, up until 16, 17, if you're just trying to nuke spiderlings, he's actually very good. If you get past that, he becomes more difficult to manage. The spiderlings get a bit clever and they start picking him off. But he's not bad. He's not bad at all. Dragons, very decent as well. Campaign's not really his place. Don't know how he's got that score there. I don't feel like that's worthwhile at all. Force Keep, he's okay. Magic Keep, he's okay. He doesn't really bring anything for these. Spirit Keep, he does have that heal reduction, so if you do build the accuracy up a bit, he can land the heal reduction for you. Void, reasonable. Faction Wars, he's brilliant. Counter-attack in Faction Wars is excellent. Ally Protection and Unkillable is also excellent. So that's his ratings then. Let's get into some content, show you what he's all about. I'm going to start with Clan Boss because that's how I've got him built. So I'm going to start with a proper endgame team, and then I'll show you perhaps a little bit of an easier team. So see my setup here. I'm actually doing a double counter setup. So I've got, and the reason I do that is Martyr brings my decreased defense and increased defense. SkullCrusher brings my ally protection. So you'll see the way this runs. He's in here to bring in that shared damage. So at the start, what I would do is get some poisons going. I would get my decreased defense and weaken on. Try and extend those with Vizier. I'll then put counterattack. My Martyr is 191 speed, so she is faster than the Clan Boss. My SkullCrusher is not faster. I have to manual the first couple of goes for my setup. See here, you see with 74k on his A1. 97k on his A1. That's what that kind of build into endgame does for you. It starts to really throw up his damage. So we're just going to keep extending here. Try and get ourselves through to past the first stun basically. After that I can hit auto. So we're just extending all these buffs with Vizier. He's insane. I do not want this heal reduction to stay. So I didn't want that to land. So what we do is we make sure Vizier does not try and extend on this turn. I use one of his other abilities. So I use this one over here. Get rid of, make sure that drops off. Stun turn. It's going to stun my Martyr. At this point, I'm going to throw counterattack on. Not for the counterattack actually. It's for the ally protection and unkillable. That's what I'm doing it for. So what my team does is I take a lot less damage when the two AoE waves come in because of that. So basically what we do is we go Martyr counterattack now. She also throws up increased defense. See this? So what's happening here is we've got heightened defense on everybody and we've got shared damage on everybody, which becomes really, really effective. So now I can hit auto. I'm going to hit auto and I'll let this run through and I'll show you the results. There's actually one thing I meant to share with you which I haven't yet. So you'll see my SkullCrusher goes before my Martyr. So for this double counterattack to work really well, we share damage for that first turn when he's unkillable for all 5 champions. And then when we get round to the second turn, the second AoE, which hits harder, basically you'll see what happens here. So I'll just keep getting these going. So you'll see, so SkullCrusher goes, loses an unkillable, so he's now vulnerable. Martyr then goes, loses her ally protection. So he's only soaking up damage from 1, 2, 3 of my champions, not the Martyr, which means that he'll last later into the game. If it was the other way around and he was soaking up damage from Martyr as well, he would die much sooner. That's the way I've got mine set. Anyway, throw the auto on and I'll show you the end results here. Okay, so we come on to the dragon. So what does counterattack here do for me? Especially if we've got lifesteal gear, it gives us a chance to top off our health when we take damage. It gives us a chance if we've got poisons to throw those poisons out. So you see here, we're basically stacking that bar full of poison the whole time. Just makes this fight 10 times easier. I'm not too fussed if my AoE damages die now. All I want is for the poisons to stay alive. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Makes this fight again very easy. Plus that shared damage, SkullCrusher is taking the majority of the damage. Therefore, again, we just survive that fight much easier. So that's Dragon. Dragon down, relatively simple when you've got yourself the counter-attacker in the lineup. What I will say is counter-attack slows down your runs generally, so you will not be getting your fastest times because of a counter-attacker. You'll actually slow your times up. Let's jump into Ice Golems. I'll show you here. I'll show you a bit further back. Should I? Yeah, I'll show you a bit further back. You don't want to be using him late into the game. You don't want to be. It just becomes very, very difficult. So let's just go with that same sort of lineup we just had. Do I need her? Probably not. Go for this. So he's a little bit of a risk in this sort of fight, mainly because he can trigger counterattack a number of times, which means that you can actually nuke yourself. When the Ice Golem used to finish at level 15, I had my 2 Skull Crowns in with my counterattack. Basically, everyone was unkillable. He was hitting us, and we were counterattacking. And pretty much it was just like we had 2 unkillable people, and I nuked him down without him being able to do anything. We were just fighting each other without me touching anything. So that's, I mean, it was pretty good fun, but it's also a bit of a risk. So yeah. What you'll see here, we get to the boss fairly comfortably. Counterattack goes up. Obviously, we're losing stacks of the counterattack, so he's done it quite early. That's the other thing. On this fight, on Fire Knights, all that type of stuff, if you're running it on auto, you're not controlling when he's going to counterattack, and he often just does it at stupid times. Like here, no one's anywhere near getting a turn meter bar back, but he's done it. But everyone's got counterattack on, so look at this. He slams us, the ads pop back up, and then we are going in with all of our damage. There's a potential here that we could have triggered another slam, but with both ads up, which means we take more hits. So it's a really, really risky way to play it, especially if you're running with stronger champions alongside you. If I had stronger people with bigger A1s, like if I had my Rotus in the team here, we 100% would have triggered the next hits. So just something to bear in mind. If you trigger hits when the ads are up, you are in trouble. It potentially ends your run on this dungeon. But as it is, it does mean if it lands and it works right, it speeds up the run because you have to kill these ads every time, and if you're not doing any damage to the boss, it just can be quite a slow boss, quite a slow fight. But as you see here, we're running at about 2 minutes, and other than my SkullCrusher, we're not in insane gear here at all. Actually, my Cold Heart is in good gear. So I guess it's just a boring fight to watch this one. Are we going to do it? I think we're going to do it. I'll let it run through. We're nearly there. We are struggling. We're going to lose this not Cold Heart, Apothecary. I hate that I get the name wrong. We're probably going to lose her, I think. Maybe not. It's pretty close. Just need everyone to pile in on the boss really now. Which they start doing anyway. They naturally start going in on the boss at this stage. That's that done. Okay. So let's get rid of that. I'll show you spiders as well. Again, he's not good for like spiders late game, but he's very good for spider earlier game. He can be a late game tank, I guess. So he can be, if you were running with a team, if you needed like a negative affinity tank like this, then he can be that. But you need other good champs to make that work. You do need someone like a Miscreated Monster to provide big shields. You need the healing here. You need somebody like Arminger or Cold Heart that's going to do the damage on the boss. Potentially both, like this. This could work. Spiderlings focus here. Shielding. 2 people nuking the boss down and keeping the turn meter down. That can work. I'll show you that quick. But he's not ideal for it. He's not ideal for it. He is very good, however, if you're at like level 10 through to 15 and you've got Bellowers in the team and you've got Skull Crowns and you're just trying to do a lot of kind of nukage to the spider, then he's good because every time a Spiderling attacks one of your team, he throws out that nuke. But you'll see here, he's tanking up nice so far. These poisons do hurt him quite a lot though. He's in lifesteal gear, so he's going to kind of regen health when he gets his attacks off. But the main thing for this team is just keeping turn meters down. As long as we keep turn meters down pretty effectively, then we're fine. But look, these Spiderlings are quite clever, so they're actually targeting him because he's the only one who doesn't have counterattack on. So the Spiderlings don't go anywhere else all the time you've got a counterattack and unkillable buff. When he drops down to very low health and he's got unkillable on, that's when the Spiderlings will start to look elsewhere. So they've got a kind of fairly sensible AI about them. Again, this is going to end up being quite slow, I think. Didn't get my turn meter drop there, which is annoying. And again, it would be nice to have had counterattack on there because it would just pinged everyone some more damage. So it's going to take a while. I'm not going to show you the whole fight because it's quite boring again, but rest assured it works. This will win me the fight eventually. It's just going to be slow. So let's come out here. So other place I'm going to show you is Fire Knights. So for Fire Knights then, we're going to have Apothecary. So what he gives us is multi-hits, yeah? So that's why he's useful for Fire Knights. He gives us a chance to break through that shield really quickly. Negative affinity, guys. I need to be a bit careful about negative affinity here. Might just bring in a Tomb Lord for decreased defense, actually. Who else do we need? Maybe someone got turn meter here. Maybe another turn meter dropper. Just lacking a bit of damage, that's all. Try this. So we should have in this team, we've got counterattack and we've got reflect damage. So we should be able to smash through that shield really, really fast. Once the shield's down, we're then relying on Soulbound and Armiger to be able to keep the shield down. And that's what we're all about here. It's all about keeping that shield down. Once we get it down once, we don't want it coming back up. The biggest issue we've got with this team is can we get through the waves, actually. So that's what we're going to find out. I don't have a resurrection, so I need to just get through them. But looking good so far. I've got quite a tanky team. Lots of defense on my Armiger, lots of defense on my Fellhound and my SkullCrusher. So provided that sort of stays in line, we're fine. I do need for Tomb Lord to come up and get that decreased defense back on and decrease attack like this. Just means that all the damage we're going to take is reduced. You see, we're not really taking much of a hit. This SkullCrusher is stacked with defense. All the time they're coming for anyone else, we're getting counterattacks, which just makes the wave clear a lot easier. And we should find we'll actually get through this quite fast. Nice poisons from the Tomb Lord. It's always good. Actually hits pretty hard as well on these waves. 20 odd K on these Liches. These liches literally, oh man, they are so tanky in this finite 20. It's insane. But there we go. So through to the boss in pretty quick time, actually, 140. And at this stage, we just need counterattack or reflect damage up as soon as possible. There's our reflect. Could have done with not doing that just yet. But it means that we're going to get full 5 stacks off. See that? Shields down to 5. And we just need now to get through the shield as quick as possible so we can start. I could have done with that soulbound just like a second later. This game's really frustrating sometimes. But we've got decreased turn meters on A1s, decreased speed from Tomb Lord. Armiger's doing his thing. And at this stage, we should be pretty much home and dry. Especially if we get a proper decreased turn meter from her there. But we do have counterattack and reflect damage on now, so if it does go off once, then we would have got the full shield down in 1 turn. So it kind of shows how effective he can be at doing that for us. Decreased defense is on now, so we should just get through this boss pretty fast. And that is all of the bosses. So you see, he's just insane in terms of utility. We can take him clan boss, we can take him into all of the dungeons and he's effective. We can take him into the arena and he is very, very strong. And it just shows why so many people want this champion. I was fortunate to get him relatively early. He was my only counter-attacker for a long time. I still use him now in endgame teams. So he's good for beginner, good for endgame. I honestly wish that Plarium would put him up as a fusion, just so that people can have that chance to get a counter-attacker. He makes such a difference to the overall game. It's insane. So look, this has been my guide on SkullCrusher, one of the best epics in the game, probably the most sought after epic in the game. Guys, let me know what you think. I'll catch you all soon.